Gareth, you claim that Gertie has stolen your goods, and Gertie, you claim that Gareth has stolen yours. You have been duped by a third party, and somebody has been into both yours and Gertrude's home and stolen the remaining bottles.
Well, I suppose that could be plausible. He'll kind of flick through and he'll show you the page and the listing, earthenware jar, for an auctioneer called Smiths and Bees. Certain secret societies, there are rooms of these bottles.
Would the Linaen Society or the other society be more likely to have one of these vaults of British witches? I'm going to go to Smith and Bees tomorrow, but before then, I think I shall inquire at the other society.
And Sterling is an older gentleman who is part and parcel of the other society and considers you to be something of an interloper. The reason why we keep such important collections here, that there are always those who can't be trusted. Their remains would be split across the bottles and then a relative could revive them.
So this would be a kind of immortality perhaps for those involved.
Maybe harnessed, but to truly use its power, a new vessel must be found.
He's going to bed excited. Even having been frustrated by Mr. Sterling, he is in a position where, like, I'm going to crack this one. I'm going to find out what's going on here.
Hello, and welcome to The Haunted Isle, a Vaesen real play podcast with myself, Ali, Ghost of Sunny, and
J-Station 64, hello.
Hello. Welcome back, Jay.
It's good to be back. As Nicholas Fondant, ready to go continue his explorations of the jars.
And who knows what these adventures will bring, but we do know that they might also bring vulgarity, profanity, and mild horror.
Mildest of horror. Dun dun dun.
So brace yourselves. Dun dun dun. So where did we leave Nicholas?
So he has been informed by his good friend Timothy that a friend of theirs has had some jars get stolen. We deduce that Gertrude, who had the jar stolen, and Gareth, sorry, thank you, who also had jars stolen, did not have them stolen by each other, as far as we know. And instead, they have been stolen by a third party, as they also lost the auction for another of these jars to complete the set. There's 4 in total. Gertie had 2, Gareth had 1, and there was 1 at the auction, and all of them are currently missing. We did learn through some research that once they are all collected, it is possible that someone's going to try and inherit the power of an ancient witch or wizard or some such. Probably not good biz for the good people of London. So we went to the other society because they are rumoured to have a large collection of such jars. And despite Nicholas's fervent warnings that perhaps one of their jars has gone missing, they did not permit him to have a look, or even offer to go and look for him to make sure they were all present and correct. So currently, I think we left him. He went to sleep at the other society, and he has planned to follow his final lead, I think, at the moment, which is to go to the auction house and try and see if we can find out who this mysterious other bidder is. Does that about wrap it up?
That about wraps it up very nicely.
Cool. He's had a maybe not so pleasant sleep in this. Not like I'm guessing the accommodation thing you said is less than Nicholas's preferred standard of
Yeah, they sort of have several tiers, and if you think of it like in terms of university accommodation, this is not what you would give the guest lecturers. This is what you would give the exchange students.
The help.
So yeah, maybe the sun is rising over London, coming in through the windows and shining brightly to Nicholas's crumpled face.
It is crumpled, as he's not had a pleasant evening. He was foiled by a very annoying Mr. Sterling, who would not heed his warnings. I can only hope he'll get his comeuppance.
I would argue that Mr. Sterling was just doing his job.
Yeah, that is fair.
But you know, who am I to question Nicholas's inner narrative?
I don't know if did we distinguish whether or not Mr. Sterling would have the sight
We didn't.
Okay. I find that interesting. Only on a petty level of, like, I am somebody who has the site, and you're not listening to my warning as a mere butler who does not have the site. You should be listening to my warnings. But it's not a line we should pursue in potential oncoming danger.
Counterpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that Sterling has met lots of people with the site during his time running and overseeing
The other society.
as kind of its main lead servant. And he knows that competence is far rarer than the site appears to be. And common sense even less so.
Because you have the site, it doesn't mean you have the skills. Fair enough.
Are you collecting Timothy on the way to the auction house?
Yes. Did we leave Timothy, or did Nicholas leave Timothy looking after someone? I feel like I do that quite a lot. Leave him in peculiar. No, I used his house to invite both Gertrude and Gerald round.
You then implied that he was the person who stole the other bottle as the only other person with a shared interest in them.
I was asking about the society and their community in general. I was not. I was not indicating Timothy. Not my Timothy. He's a good boy.
The same age as you.
he's a good boy. Yes, so I think collect Timothy and head to the auction house. Did we have? I think I had the name of the auction house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it the Royal London Auction House?
No.
Is it in my notes? Is the question. No, if I did learn it, apparently I didn't write it down.
So, fortunately, Timothy is far more well rested than you.
Do you know which of these auction houses we're supposed to be going to? Smithbees. Smith and Bees?
Smiths and Bees.
Smiths and Bees. There we go. I remember. Don't worry, Timmy.
I will follow your lead.
Yes, to Smiths and Bees. Where is that again, Timothy?
It's this, and he'll sort of gesture in the direction of like the markets and Christie's and.
Onward. Well, the morning is fresh. Let us go.
Yeah, so Timothy's trudging behind you. It's a broken man.
We'll probably stop for some kind of breakfast pastry or some such along the way if there is any venues in between here and there, because danger is afoot and time is of the essence. But Nicholas is in London and there's no reason to deny oneself a breakfast treat.
So what's his breakfast treat of choice?
Whatever the most elaborately named thing is, they're probably French. Probably pain au chocolat, which is probably the fanciest thing he could think of at the time, unless there's any specifically French or posh sounding pastry.
No, but I do feel like Nicholas would probably order like a croque monsieur, thinking it sounds really fancy.
Yes.
And it's in fact a ham and cheese.
Ham and cheese toasty. Yeah, no, that's pretty good. Yeah, he'll order a croque monsieur. A croque monsieur, my friend. I don't know if Timothy will be joining.
I mean, are you gonna treat him?
Yeah, if he's looking dreary, probably.
Yeah, I mean, you did drag him out of his house, and he'll sort of say to you, "I did have food at my house that I could have eaten."
Well, I'm doing this job as a favour to you, Timothy, my boy. So.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you.
Solving your case, buying you pastries.
I would like a croissant.
Un croissant, please, for my friend here.
But it's not worth the price. After our standard apology to the peoples of Scandinavia, we would now like to apologise to the peoples of France for what we are doing to their cuisine.
What Nicholas is doing.
Yep.
Their cuisine. So, and then on to Smiths and Bees.
Make me a roll.
A roll? How many dice?
Just a general roll.
A general
How
roll.
many have you got?
6 total. There's 1 success in there.
So I'm going to give you one free reroll.
Ooh.
Fortified is you. This is not an official rule. I'm just going to do it. You're fortified by the pastries.
Is this not the deep crunchy rule of bonus pastry rules?
It's the crunchy pastry rule.
Excellent stuff.
I'm a little bit fickle. Capricious.
Well, Nicholas is a croque monsieur about town.
Don't know what that means. Okay, so fortified from your pastry, maybe Timothy will brush off the worst of the crumbs.
Yeah, I think Nicholas is very good at having food and coming away looking fancy. I think they're probably very low level life skills that Nicholas has down.
Ah, good for Nicholas. So he's looking fancy when he strolls up to Smiths and Bees. So the front of the auction house is very lovely. Fake arches, looking real fancy. You can see there's kind of a courtyard, and like around the side there's like, you know, people coming and going with wagons and bringing in deliveries, and it's busy. But the front of the building tells you that it is by appointment only.
By appointment only. Interesting. Is it an exterior auction house, or is it just a courtyard entrance to an interior building?
So there's almost like there's like the front building where the fancy people would go in, and then there's like the back place where the tradesmen would go and bring deliveries and stuff.
And probably will place a hand on Timothy's chest as if he was going to walk past him, whether or what he was going to or not. And say, Timothy, my friend, this appointment only business, is that something I have to be concerned myself with, or shall we just go in and assert our authority?
We?
Oh, you're coming with me, aren't you?
Well, yes, I would usually make an appointment, but you might have a bit more luck than I do, judging by circumstances. He's seen Nicholas wield his authority in the past.
Very well. So, in terms of tack, I was thinking maybe going in and taking the line of disgruntled customer along the lines of the item being taken. Is that better, or do you think more of a maybe an enamored fan of the collections? What do you think is more likely to curry favor with these folk?
I mean, I normally just come in as a observer to some of these things. I'm interested, but I can't say I've had much dealings with Mr. Smithsonby himself. What are you trying to do?
Well, I want to find out who took this other jar. I feel like if we can find that person, we'll find the entire collection. But I imagine that's not information they'll give away too easily, if it's by appointment only and all that. But if it's by appointment only, that means there should be records, is that right?
I mean, one would hope. Providence is everything in our line of work, so you would hope that Smithsonby keeps good records.
Excellent. Can I have a look and see whether or not there is any auctions happening today? Or anything that would be in a similar vein to the jars?
You can't see from the front, but if you kind of hail one of the passing kind of people going in, like they seem to be setting up rather than like expecting guests.
Yeah.
So if you stop one of those people, they'll tell you that there's probably going to be another auction in about 5 days or so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's far too late. Thank you, and carry on.
You may go.
Do you know Smithsonby's, barely say his last name, do you know his first name?
We're not on those terms.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we better go in and hope for the best, I suppose. Although before we do go in, well, I don't know if there'd be any use or any secret or surreptitious entrances to the building, but I suppose there's not to say why that person didn't just come and go as a regular auction customer. Is that the right term?
Indeed, and if they were bidding on it, which I think is what Gareth was saying, then they would have had to have joined as a normal patron. They
Yes.
wouldn't have let staff. They don't typically let staff bid, or if they do, they arrange beforehand. They don't take part in the auction itself.
Yes, that's fair enough. Well, let's head on in then and see what we can find. Straight back, Timothy. Project authority.
Oh.
Stride in as best he can.
Yeah. So Timothy manages to fall. He nearly trips over his feet.
Well done, Timothy, my boy.
So you go in. It's kind of a sitting room, like a little office area, and a desk with a bell on it.
Yeah, he'll be looking for a reception. And we'll go to the. Is there anyone behind the reception before he rings the bell? And we'll adopt a very casual pose, maybe lean on the counter a little bit, making sure all of his fine clothes are on show, and ring the bell and wait with a smile on his face.
So the office door will open, and there'll be a chap kind of shrugging on a fine jacket. So maybe he was working in a three-piece suit. He's obviously taken his jacket off, but now he's coming out to meet you. He's putting himself back together.
Good show.
Hello. Do you have an appointment, sir?
I'm here to see Mr. Smith and Miss. I'm here. I am here. I'm here to see Mr. Smithsonby on a matter of great urgency.
And he'll sort of look you up and down and say, "You have found Mr. Smithsonby. I don't believe I'm familiar with your good self."
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Smithsonby. My name is Nicholas Fondat. I'm a finder of curios, acquirer of intriguing items, not entirely different from your line of work, I'm sure.
And he'll look you up and down and kind of go, "Quite." Do you? And he'll drift back over to the counter and maybe open up a book. Say, "And did you have an appointment for today?"
No, an appointment isn't necessary. I'm not having anything appraised or having anything. I'm not looking to shift any gear or even to propose any items for you to sell on my behalf. I am here about a previous item that was passed. How long ago was it? It's like 3 days ago, something like that?
Yeah, a couple of days ago.
Yeah. An item that was sold 3 days ago. That may be a matter of life and death.
So he'll.
I'm trying to be as intriguing as possible.
So his ear will have caught on the phrase "shift some gear."
Yeah.
And make me a persuasion roll.
Persuasion roll.
Or whatever the Vaesen equivalent of persuasion is.
Because I wasn't lying yet. It is manipulation.
Yeah.
And that is 5 dice. Ooh, no. Ah, boo.
So the matter of life and death,
Mhm.
and I'm not looking to shift some gear, has him thinking that perhaps you are threatening him. So he'll glance around and see if he can see any of the lads from at the back, and he'll sort of say, "With all due respect, gentlemen, I don't want any trouble."
Oh, no, you won't have any trouble from me, my friend. This is Timothy. He's a colleague of mine, and I'm going to try and present Timothy in the least threatening way possible because I imagine Timothy doesn't look very threatening. He looks. I'm trying to present Timothy as if he's my academic credentials. As is Timothy, a friend of mine, he pointed out to me on Wednesday gone, I can't remember what day it was, an earthenware jug that was quite sought after, but I am afraid that the buyer who took the item may be in grave danger.
Really?
Yes, indeed.
So he'll come out from behind the counter and he'll wander over and he'll check that the sign is switched to closed on the door.
She's threatening me now.
Matters may be, but as you can imagine, we have all manner of curious that pass through these doors. There are frequently legends attached to them from enterprising individuals who are looking to drive up the cost. I fail to see transactions being completed. What that has to do with myself or my business. Fondat.
Well, Mr. Smithsonby, do you think it would be your business if you were to be implicated in a case of manslaughter?
Okay, so that's got to be a deception.
Well, I've not done the deception yet. There is reasoning behind this.
So he will say, certainly, I don't know your business, Mr. Fondat, but would it be harmful to you or to, we don't know Timothy's second name, Rawlings?
Timothy Thompson?
No, he's got a proper name. Poor Timothy. You or Mr. Timothy.
Go back through all of my notes. It says Timothy, real friend.
Timothy Rowley. Timothy Rowley.
Rowley. There.
Timothy real friend.
Doesn't have his name.
Oh, that's really cute though. He's your real friend and this is how you treat him. So, Mr. Rowley, would it be favourable to either of your businesses if someone were to prosecute you for slander?
Tell me, Mr. Smithsonby, did you appraise the item yourself? The earthenware jar?
I don't understand under what authority you are here asking me this.
And, well, I am assuming, based on the information given to me by my dear friend Timothy here, that the opening of the jar would inherently damage the value of the item. So I'm assuming you didn't go and open the jar itself.
You may assume that.
So, you would be surprised to hear then that I have been informed that the contents of those jars are deadly poison that can leak out of cracks and poison whoever has them. That is a lie.
Okay, just make me a lie check.
That's my gambit. Deception is something that he is better at. He gets to roll 7 dice on that.
I'm also really tempted to get you to roll for Timothy to see if he can keep his face straight.
1 success. 1 success.
So he'll pale a little at this. And he'll drift over back to his desk and pull out another big ledger. And almost start to be looking through, and then he'll pause. What did you roll? 7. And he'll flick through the rest of the book, and he's getting kind of more and more flustered.
The ledger.
The ledger, yeah. Well, I suppose that certainly explains. I suppose that explains things. I will tell you what I told the other gentleman.
Ooh.
And then I want no more about it. At least you don't smell of chlorine and acid or some other ghastly substance. What can I tell you about it? What do you need to know?
Well, ideally, I would like to go and meet the individual and make sure that they have either secured it in a means that it won't poison them, or to make sure that they're well aware of the situation. I have no personal interest in owning the item, of course. It is not my forte, but I am making sure that this item does not go on to harm any others.
I suppose that's very well. We came into the item. It came to us from a house clearance somewhere near Harley Street. It was sold on to a merchant in Soho.
Sold to a merchant in Soho. Oh, is this from them? Sorry. Or
Yeah.
just before it came to them?
No, this is so it's come from a house pillar.
Ah,
and
I
it's
see.
Sold on to
Oh,
somebody
okay. Do you have their name? What shop this is?
They will.
And of course, we'll keep any of legal or authoritative matters out of this. Well, I'll make sure it's handled discreetly.
I suppose I will appreciate that. Thank you.
Let's sweeten the pot a little bit.
So he'll tell you that it is the Co.
M&M.
M&M Co.
This is the M&M store.
The M&M store. It's not supposed to be until I've seen it written down. So you're gonna go and find the M&M store.
The M&M store in London. Okay. I'm on board. This other gentleman that I was asking after them, the chlorine-smelling man, what was his interest in the situation? And did you give him the information?
And he shuts the book, and he's sort of hesitating whether or not he should tell you. He's looking kind of faintly embarrassed.
I'm gonna double down on the fibbing. On a reasonable extraction, if this man smelled of chloroform or other chemicals, I fear that he may be looking to acquire this poison for some nefarious means or other.
He seemed like a respectable gentleman of means. I have no reason
okay.
to suspect anything else. Make me an empathy check.
An empathy check.
Or observation.
Observation.
Whichever is better.
Am I checking for his reaction kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or am I looking at him? Because there's vigilance and there's observation. Observation is empathy, so I think that's like someone's reaction. I don't think vigilance is looking at them physically or things physically.
Yeah. So observation.
Observation, cool. That is 6. Boo. No successes.
Yeah, so he continues to look a little bit shifty but doesn't give you any more information.
Okie dokie. So we've learned that there is a man selling of chlorine that has been acquiring after the jar. It was sold to M&M Co. Did you tell me the name of the person?
Just the business name.
Just the business name, okay. Did you deal with the representative of M&M Co. yourself?
We have many dealings with many people.
Okay.
It was a busy day for us. I can't give you any more than that.
Well, I was interested to if he had any unusual, distinguishing, or interesting features or assets about him. But if it was a busy day, I am sure he would have stood out if that was the case.
One can only hope, sir.
Quite well. You have been very useful and helpful. I will hopefully be able to put this matter to bed very shortly and quietly. In the meantime, my friend Timothy here, he will pay you now. He is interested in some of the kinds of curios that here, so maybe perhaps we will be able to develop a more interesting working relationship going forward.
Perhaps. Well, I must be off.
Yes, of course. Thank you for your time.
And he'll go
Miss
into the
Cindy.
door and sort of like
Okay.
giving you the bum's rush.
I'm trying to leave on a positive impression if possible.
Yeah, he wants you to leave.
And we shall leave for pace. Well, come along, Timothy. Let us go and maybe as we're leaving the door, maybe let's go and save a life, shall we? Tip my hat to Mr. Smith as we walk past.
So, because you're busy tipping your hat, you don't see Timothy rolling his eyes.
So outside, and maybe away from the place itself, although can I have a quick look around to make sure if they're packing things, is there anything that's labelled for M&M Co. at the place?
Not that you can see. These are mainly things that have been coming in, and because you did ask about the person who purchased the jar.
Yeah.
If they were in the habit of making regular purchases, probably would have told you. Oh, no,
Okay.
it's such and such. I trust them.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. Not a regular.
Yeah.
Cool. So I will ask Timothy. First of all, the jar itself. There was a clearance on Harley Street. Do you have any idea about that?
It's doctors is where they would go. I mean, I don't know.
Doctors.
I don't know beyond that.
The doctors live on Harley Street. Interesting. Okay.
I can't imagine why they would. There's no historians or folklorists or anyone else I would expect to have interest in the witch bottles.
Perhaps they're trying to formulate some kind of antidote to the poison. Oh no! Wait, I made that up. Good job keeping a straight face in there, by the way, when I did that. You're catching on.
Practice makes perfect.
And it's M&M Co. in Soho. Have you been there before? Have you heard of it?
No, I can't say that I have. I'm not a great frequenter of Soho, but it's still early. Perhaps if we get along, we can go and see the place.
Yes, let's go and let's make our way there. As we are walking, I'm gonna ask Timothy about the man smelling of chlorine and other chemicals. Do you know what line of business might have that kind of the pool cleaner or?
I don't.
Kind of
Let's have a little roll.
sign. Ooh, two successes. Timothy, you're right from the ball.
So Timothy will sort of tell you that we don't have anything like that in the museum or in the society. I mean, perhaps a scientist or a chemist, maybe. Could be a doctor.
Yes, if someone is connected to chemicals for medicinal use, perhaps that would tie it together with Harley Street. Perhaps someone who's looking to try and get it back. Would Nicholas or myself know? Is there any way of... Because I was thinking we can go to Harley Street and just look for any houses that have been cleared out, but I imagine that's not going to be a very straightforward process. Would there be notices or anything that, like, how would you know that there's been a clearance in the street in this era of London, or is that something that's going to be found?
I suppose you could go and try and interrogate people.
Knock on doors and
Yeah.
It's not the first lead, but in case
You need a plan B.
it's a plan B, yeah, to go and knock on and find out which, because I'm guessing people in the street would know which one had been cleared out. Mostly concerned with who and why, and if they're still about. Was my line of questioning. But yes, we'll talk with Timothy about the potential roles that a chemical smelling man might have in this era of London on the way to Soho.
And what will also become apparent as you stroll through London is there are many smells in this rich metropolis, particularly at this era.
What a wonderful age we live in, Timothy. Breathe it in.
Starts hacking on the smog.
But yeah, head and try and find M&M Co. in Soho, if possible. Ideally, first would be to surreptitiously look upon it from afar. Is the idea.
So,
Head poked around a corner kind of business. Go on.
so you're kind of walking down the road that this M&M Co. is located on. It's kind of various shop fronts. And you see a shop that is a ramshackle apothecary.
Ooh.
With a sign Mysteria and Magic over the door. It could be anything. Which of these many shops could it be? Sprigs of herbs,
Is it not labelled M&M&Co?
No.
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, having looked up and down the street, I guess this is the only one that seems to be along the lines of something that would be potentially interested in a earthenware jar, a witch's jar. Looking upon it from a distance, does it appear to have a anybody in?
You can't see through the door because there's kind of lots of stuff around. There's also a sign in the window that says guidance from the beyond.
Ooh. So that's kind of like soothsaying and future reading.
Fortune telling.
Fortune telling, that's it. So I couldn't remember the elaborate versions of that term.
Future seeing.
Future seeing and soothsaying.
Soothsaying I quite like.
Interesting, Timothy. What do you make of this place?
I can't decide if it's more welcoming than the auction house or not.
Well, they seem to have an eye for... I was going to say your line of work, but I think that's just too insulting for Timothy. They seem to have an eye for the unusual, which is something that tends to lend itself to our area of work, I suppose. It says in the window about... appear to be some kind of soothsayer. Perhaps you and I could take part in a little sard for this part of the investigation. What do you think, Timothy?
Okay. What did you have in mind?
How about if we go in and you are looking to get your fortune read, and I shall play your friend who is skeptical, and together maybe we could try and find some information about this individual.
Okay, I would certainly like to know what my future holds.
And remember, we're trying to find out about this jar and about the individual who's taken it. So try to lean into that a little bit. You get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. And he will approach the shop and open the door for Timothy to go in.
So as you step inside, the little bell rings, announcing your presence. And there is somebody behind the counter, kind of feet propped up, reading a book.
Good day, sir. Hello.
Hello, darlings.
My friend here, Timothy, is in a frightful way. And he wants to know if you are able to illuminate the paths he should take. I've been told that's the kind of line of work that you might be able to help with.
And they'll sort of stand up, and you'll see that they're dressed in kind of long, flowing robes, very hocus pocus vibe. And they'll kind of clap their hands together and lean a little bit closer to you, and lean into Timothy, and go, "I see. And what is it that you would like to know, Timothy?"
There's a character in the Zelda games called the Mask Salesman. I'm getting very strong vibes of that character. Very scary character.
Oh, they're not scary.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what's Timothy gonna ask him, I guess? So I put you in an awkward position of having to have a conversation with yourself.
And so they'll take Timothy's hands,
Mm-hmm.
kind of hold them together, maybe pat their face very gently, like, "Timothy, I don't think you and I are going to get very far. Perhaps your friend could join us. Sit. And there's a small round table in the corner.
Okay.
So they'll pour some tea. They'll sit you both down.
Whilst we are pottering about getting ready, can I have a look for anything that resembles anything along the lines of, if not is actually the earthenware jar?
So the room is full of stuff.
Okay.
So you can certainly look.
Okay. Can I have a scan around, see if I can catch what I'm looking for?
You can see that there's almost in front of the window, there's little bottles and potions and something that's labelled as a love spell and crystals and various kind of witchy things that are almost for public consumption. And then you can almost see in a corner, almost cordoned off, or maybe in a cabinet,
Yeah.
screened off, are some other things.
Okay.
Private selection.
A private selection for the connoisseur.
Right, okay. But yeah, I'm guessing he doesn't have the freedom at the moment to go and have a wander over there. But,
No.
just keeping an eye out in case there's, some shelves with like selection of different earthenware jugs on them. But yeah, he'll come and join Timothy and sit down at the table. You sure about this, Timothy? It's wizards and witches and whatnot. Is that still a thing that you have faith in?
Yes, I'm quite a believer.
Any reaction from the line about wizards or witches from our friend?
They will kind of tilt their head at you, narrow their eyes, but they won't say anything.
I'm Nicholas, by the way.
Joe,
Joe.
at your service.
Nice to meet you, Joe. Trying to write the word Joe, the end of the pencil broke off twice in a row.
Oh no.
So, have you much experience with this kind of magic?
Fortune telling, you mean?
Yes, I suppose.
I mean, it is my trade. It's my calling.
It's not magic, it's...
It is a gift.
Oh, okay. Very well. Pay attention, Timothy.
Shall we begin, gentlemen? And they'll reach out their hands. The both of you.
Both of us. Okay. Maybe Will reluctantly, wasn't intending on being part of this, reluctantly put his hand in and looked at Timothy as he puts his hand in Timothy's. And is it a circle thing, or is he just holding Timothy's hand?
Yeah. She'll take both of yours together and just put them together.
Yeah. And yeah, maybe give a slightly like, this isn't what we planned look to Timothy.
Yeah, Timothy knows this is not what was planned.
Yeah. Cool.
So, are you leaving it to Timothy, or are you carrying on steering the conversation?
We'll see who they're directing the questions to. I guess is we're fishing for information. So
they'll, in the circle, they'll ask Timothy. Timothy, I'm sensing some hesitance from you. You're not uncomfortable, are you?
Timothy, no, he wouldn't be uncomfortable. Of course not.
And Timothy will shake his head. And they'll give you a side eye. And then they'll say something about the energy of this session is not entirely wholesome.
And he'll say, Timothy, what have you done? I don't know what thoughts you're reading of his, Joe, but I assure you he's a good lad.
Make me a deception check.
Oh, got one more. 7 on deception. No.
So they will take their hands back and they'll go, give over. I don't know who sent you.
Sent us? Nobody sent me. It was my friend.
You're lying to me.
We are looking for a path. As we said when we arrived, a path to find certain curios, items, rarities, and we were led to believe that you were the person to be able to do such a thing.
You set your friend up as bait.
Oh, I don't imagine you giving him pointers on his destined path would have been a particularly negative experience for him. Look at him, he needs a bit of guidance, don't you, Timothy?
Poor Timothy. And Joe will say, you're very careless for one with the sight, aren't you?
Ooh. I probably will be a little bit flustered about that. Sight? Sight of what?
And they're just gonna...
Are you also an optometrist?
You came here for information, I can only imagine. Yes?
Yes.
Why should I give it to you if I can't trust your intentions?
there's no way of knowing if someone's got the site normally without them seeing something out of the ordinary and being like, oh, just see that. Like, there's no way of telling, is there really? Otherwise,
As far as you're aware.
yeah. Not that I think the person is faking, just that whether or not Timothy can tell whether or not this person has the site. The mentioning the site in of itself is a pretty big clue, but I don't know how much I trust this person.
The tables have turned.
Can I do an observation check to find out whether or not I think this person is lying? Or they've not said anything.
Whether they're bluffing you.
Bluffing you, yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Nope.
You do have a reroll.
Oh, that's true, actually. Yeah, I have my croque monsieur. Yeah, I'll give that a go. Okay. I'm going to do that.
We're going to have your little French reroll.
My French reroll. Maybe. Hey, one success. One success.
So, you can tell that the people that you've met with the site in England so far have all been members of the society or affiliated with members of the society. This person knows of the site. You have no reason to believe that they're lying about that. The fact that they've questioned you about the site suggests that they have they may have further developed skills that are not yet available to you or that you've come across before.
Yeah.
You sort of recognise them for something of a hedge witch.
Okay.
So self-taught, self-developed, but with a strong lineage. And because you got a success and it was a very fine sandwich, you know that if these people are out in the world, they can go bad very easily. But that doesn't seem to be the case here.
Okay.
They tend to go one way or the other.
Because you can very easily be corrupted by whatever business is going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, with that realization, we'll perhaps, and getting no reaction from the optometrist line, will maybe change his demeanor a little bit and try to look a bit less like a flustered customer looking for fortune telling and maybe a deal, and trying to present himself more like a member of the society. Not like, not going to show a badge or anything, but like just kind of look a bit more like put together. Well, it's unusual to have somebody identify that another has the site. It's quite a skill you have, but you can imagine you still have to be careful about these things.
People are very keen to encourage me to be careful. On whose authority are you here?
I am here on my own authority. I am associated with various societies, but I'm not here working for them.
They'll sort of like roll their eyes when you mention the society and look a little bit shifty.
Nope, that's fair enough. It's not for everybody. But I'm here on behalf of my friend here, Timothy, and I'm upon behalf of his friends. There was an item that was taken recently from a friend's abode that is potentially dangerous, and I'm tracking it down. And that evidence, thus far, has led me to you, Joe.
Bloody bottle.
So you're aware?
Yes. Saw it in the auction. No. Granny always said you should be careful with witch bottles, blah blah blah. I couldn't leave it. So I bought it and brought it home. I've already sold it.
Sold it?
Yeah.
You bought it because you couldn't leave it because it was dangerous, and then you sold it. I hope you sold it to somebody who was irrefutably in safe hands.
I felt as though I was putting it in experienced hands.
It's very vague, Joe. Do you want?
It comes with the job.
Yes, that's very true, I imagine. Tell me, what do you know about these bottles, Joe?
They're very powerful, very old. They're hedge magic. They're crafts. They can be used to summon, to resurrect. They can be protective. They can be. We treat them like they're evil, but we often say that about things that we don't understand. And when they say that last bit, they'll shift a little bit, like they're trying to convince themselves as well as you.
So you think it would be safe to allow 4 of these bottles to be reunited together?
4 of them?
Yes.
Well, I only had the one. You
did only have the one, but others were in this town and have gone missing, and I fear they are being collected for a purpose I think you know very well, Joe.
And they'll swear. And they'll say, just me now, like running this shop, like a lot of people come in wanting things. He was looking for a luck spell. He wanted a change in fortune. I shouldn't have sold it to him, I know.
Well, we can agree on one thing at least. So you're going to tell me who it was you sold it to, so I can make sure that whatever havoc it is that this combination of jars wreaks upon this town doesn't go place?
Make me a empathy check.
Straight up empathy? Or is it
Oh.
manipulation?
Manipulation.
A success.
So you can tell that they feel bad enough already.
Cool.
And
Kind of leaning into that.
whatever happened was possibly more upsetting than you would perhaps expect.
The person that you sold it to, did they happen to have any kind of odor about them? I mean, I know I'm talking about the city, but anything unusual?
They smelled chemical, not earthy or floral or green. Just astringent and disgusting.
And did something happen when you sold this item to the individual?
He didn't intend to sell it to him. He came in, like I said, looking for a luck potion. And I was unpacking the bottle. It's not long been delivered. And I thought he was just going to take the luck spell. He was on his way out. And then he turned and his eyes were black. And he demanded that I sell him the bottle, and I told him no. And he doubled the price. And I couldn't refuse him. It was like he was a different person. So I sold it to him.
And this eyes turning black business, chemical smelling figure, doubling the price, selling it without wanting to. Didn't think that was information to put up front early on. Important information.
I know what your lot are like. Always trying to blame us. Anyone who's not under their thumb. I'm an independent trader. I would tell you who he was if you can offer me protection. I don't help the society. And you can almost hear the air quotes when they say it in the normal way of things.
Well, Joe, you have independently traded a time bomb into the hands of a monster. But we all make mistakes. And I'll be honest with you, having contacts outside of the confines of the society, something that benefits everyone, I believe. What measure of protection would you require?
Just that if something does happen with that stupid bottle, then I don't get blamed for it. Not my fault.
Well, that's not true, but...
I mean, it is true.
When he said he didn't want to sell it, but he did, Is he saying that he was compelled to sell it, or that he was just scared and sold it?
He was compelled to sell it.
Oh, okay. Because considering double the price, he was like, "Oh, go on then." Sold to the man with the creepy black eyes. If he was compelled to sell it, that's a whole different thing. No, well, whatever this is goes far beyond your part in this tale. It need not be told any further. And who knows? Maybe I will genuinely need my future telling at some point.
And they'll give you a little grin and say, "Good, fine, thank you." No, they'll wait here, and they'll go rummage around in the back, and they'll bring out a small notebook, and they'll say, "I knew that there was something wrong. I got his name. I told him it was like the as you say, it could be poisonous. Chemists have a poison book. I told him this was the poison book, clearly just an address book. But here you go. And it's Will Lock, Harley Street.
Will Lock.
And there's also, you notice, a funny little symbol that's been drawn next to it.
It's the croissant.
Unrelated croissant. It's a creepy croissant. I didn't know that there was going to be pastries in this when I drew that 6 months ago.
Put that in the video. Dun, dun, you see it there? Dun, dun, dun.
Croissant of death.
The croissant caper continues. Is that drawn next to the name of the guy's name, or?
Yeah, and if you look really closely, you'll see that it is a name and it is an address. It is incredibly wobbly, the writing.
Cool.
This is not the flowing, confident script of somebody who's in full control of their faculties.
Okay. There's part of me then we don't have one of the jars on us, do we? We're not being lured into a trap to bring the fourth one with us. No, that's not the case.
No.
Is it Dr. Will Lock or just Will Lock?
It just says Will Lock.
Will Lock.
But the address is in Harley Street.
In Harley Street. Okie dokie.
Well, just off Harley Street.
If this chap comes back in, best not mention any of this. In fact, best not mention this to anybody, really. And I'll endeavour to do the same.
Well, if you recall, I did not want to mention it to you, but then you came in here and insisted.
Insisted on saving lives, Joe. Saving lives.
As you say, Nicky.
Did I tell him his full? Did I tell him my full name, or did I just call myself Nicholas?
Nicholas, I don't know, I can't remember.
Okay, cool. He would want to have his full name because J Station, the player, really likes the idea of having a hedge wizard friend in a little hippie shop in Soho. That's excellent. as with the auctioneer actually as well. So looking to make contacts apparently this week. So I'm off to go and meet this. Well, find out what information I can about this Will Lock and perhaps confront him and make sure that whatever it is he's looking to do with these jars, whatever despicable thing it might be, does not take place. I don't suppose you've got another one of those luck potions lying around?
I mean, it's lavender and mint in some water, but you're more than welcome. And they'll give you a luck potion.
Okie dokie. One luck potion. One fake luck potion. Well, when I drink it, I'll...
Oh, for God's sake, please don't drink it. You smell it.
Oh, well, I'll... I knew that.
Bloody hell.
And I will put a hand on Joe's shoulder and very seriously say, "Be safe, Joe, my friend. We live in dangerous times. Luck be with you."
Thanks.
And then dramatically whirl around his long coat and make for the door.
And you'll kind of see them lean into Timothy and go, is he always like that? And Timothy will just come back, yeah.
Come along, Timothy.
She gives him a biscuit. Pats him on the back.
Cool. So off to... Well, I don't think I'm going to go straight to Harley Street. I want to try and find out some information if I can about Will Lock. especially with the name Locke. See if there's any information about that in records.
So you've made a new friend. Made 2 new friends
Two
today.
new friends.
Big day for Nicholas.
Big day for Nikki. And we've tracked down the name, very likely to be the person who's behind it all. Only a little bit of lying, just scaring Smith and the Bean about poisoning, but that was about it.
I love how your go-to strategy is maximum drama.
That's Nicholas's whole thing.
So good.
Maximum drama.
Maximum drama. Team drama.
Do you want to be indicted for manslaughter, Smith and Bean?
You're going to jail. Jail, I say.
I like Jo though. She was very good.
We like Jo.
Yeah. Disappointed that she gave me smelling salts instead of an actual luck potion.
I think you should be pleased that they didn't let you poison yourself.
That's true. 100% would have drank that.
Viewers at home, never drink lavender oil. Not good for you. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Even if you're trying to stop some sort of earthen jar ware related apocalypse.
Even if the only thing that stands between you and destiny is a croissant.
The croissant is amazing. I love that we brought up the croissant, and here it is. Croissant of destiny.
So I actually wrote down like a moon or a croissant.
Hey! Excellent.
So it was in-game foreshadowing.
Perfect.
So, on that note, back soon with more baked goods.
More baked goods.
Thank you for watching.
More baked stories.
Thank you for playing. And yeah, see you next time.
Thank you for watching this. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.